Okay, hello everybody. Today's date is September 8th, 2017, and my name is Leslie Williams. Now, just in case I'm not able to get a hold of my mother because her birthday is coming up, and hopefully maybe one day one of my relatives will see this video, preferably after I've gotten a lawyer. Just stay with me, you'll understand what this video is about in a minute. I want to wish her a happy birthday. My fellow American citizens, my name is Leslie Williams. I live in La Jolla, California, which is located geographically in San Diego County. Now let me get comfortable here just for a second. Periodically throughout this video, I will be turning the video camera around the phone in order to make sure that I'm still live broadcasting, because my Periscope videos in the past have been interrupted midstream as I'm making the video. So, right now, I apologize, it's taking an extra second here to get this going, but I just realized as I was talking that my phone charger was, had run out, so I'm plugging a new one in. Hold on. Just want to make sure that didn't interrupt it. Okay, my fellow American citizens, this is going to be a short video, and I'm going to talk fast, because the faster I talk, the more I can incorporate within this video. This is a lawyer video, absolutely. And all my statements that I make in reference to the described technologies and the details concerning how these technologies can be used in the criminal expeditions of what is known as gang stalking, which can also be termed as organized stalking, okay, can be Googled in YouTube. And the reason why I say can is because if a target individual states that these things are happening to them and or any other specific target, the courts who protect this shit and the police who are absolutely directly connected to aspects, at least aspects of gang stalking, okay, they can use anything you say against you in the court of law, call you crazy, which using the courts, okay, to call you crazy is actually a method of gang stalking, okay. There's a manifesto written by a manager of gang stalking crews, okay, who went offline and typed in a documentation file concerning who they are and what they're about. It is by no means everything that they are about or who they are, but it does give you a good preface to build upon, a good foundation. So you can find this manifesto by going to Google and typing in a gang stalking tech, everything you need to know. But remember, it is not everything you need to know. And I've also seen at least 3 YouTube videos of individuals who are still current syndicate members who used really, and trust me, I know enough about this crime to know that the technique that they used in order to disguise who they are was an absolute, complete, reasonable conclusion pertaining to their decision to do so. There are some, meaning that there are some YouTube videos online, I've seen 3 of them, where you could go to YouTube and probably type in like gang stalker calls a radio show, gang stalker confesses online, and trust me, you'll eventually find them. And there are at least 3 videos online of radio interviews, because there's a lot of podcasts and conferences that are going on right now through separate YouTube channels where individuals are hosting these alternative media YouTube radio conferences, where they will pertaining to any subject matter, and but most of them are about gang stalking in reference to the subject matter. So what they're doing is they're getting online and they're holding these online in real time. Well, actually, most of them are recorded interviews between their guest host, and then they allot a specific time within these conferences for targeted individuals of these crimes to call up and speak to the guest, okay, and to expose what they know or to talk about their experiences. So this is where I have seen these 3 confessions is through these types of media platforms. So trust me, you'll be able to find it. In fact, you probably go to Google and type in gang stalking YouTube confession of a gang stalker, and trust me, just search for it, you'll find it. I apologize, it took an additional second to get that out as well. Stay with this video, I guarantee you will be glad you did. Absolutely, especially when you get to what's in the title of this Periscope video. Okay, now what I incorporated within the title of this Periscope video is a tweet URL link, meaning that it is a URL link of a tweet from my Twitter account. That specific tweet is also attached to hundreds of other tweets that are directly attached to it, linked to it above it. Okay? What is incorporated within that tweet are 2 YouTube videos. One is a video that I made that clearly shows me exposing the details of crimes of gang stalking, and let me take a puff off my cigarette because I'm going to put it out and then I'll move forward. Because I just sat down and I always got to have a cigarette when I sit down, so hold on a minute. I hate smoking on camera. Alright, so the first video is about remote neural monitoring. Evidence of it. You better watch it. Okay, absolutely. It's one of the best videos that I have ever made. Within that video, it literally shows supporting documentation concerning DARPA and the testimony of another targeted individual that had already been online before that DARPA article came out. Now, at any time, you can go to Google and research how gang stalking victims are being used for non-consensual human experimentation, which absolutely and completely encompasses daily neurological, biological, and physiological torture. You just would not believe what these demented animals are doing to victims. You just would not believe it. Literally, words can't describe it. Literally. Okay? So, the woman, see, at the beginning of that video, I show a video picture of a YouTube title. So what you want to do when you bring that, it's at the, like, as soon as you press play on that YouTube video, what you want to do is you want to press play and then press stop, so you can write down the title of her video. Okay, I also verbalize it. Now that's important because when you watch the video, after you watch the entire thing and listen to everything I got to say, you're literally going to say to yourself, "Damn!" Literally. Okay, so. The reason why I'm bringing this also to your attention concerning that video that I'm exposing within the video, okay, the title of it, is because after you watch the video and see the supporting DARPA documentation, you want to also then type in the title of that YouTube video to bring it up to listen to what she has to say, and she has other YouTube videos within her channels. And that video, my statements and the DARPA documentation work together. Okay, in order to complement the details of what I exposed that come from what she exposed, all of the educated knowledge that I have derived from the internet concerning remote neural monitoring and how it's even used in gang stalking crimes, okay, and the DARPA documentation. So they all work together, and trust me, I guarantee it, literally, your mouth is literally going to drop. You will literally never see the world in the same way that you have seen it, that you see it now, literally. Now, what is in the second YouTube video is an individual by the name of Roger Tulsis, who I've even talked to personally on phone briefly back in 2012. Okay. And Roger Tulsis runs the website bugsweet.com. Now, before I continue, I want to make this statement. If this video stops at any point while I'm in the middle of talking, still research everything that I've stated so far up to that point in every single video dedicated to this Periscope account. I do what I do to inform, to expose the truth. Now, my fellow American citizens, Roger Tulsis, he runs the website bugsweet.com. And what he does is that he uses hundreds of thousands of dollars, literally, of electronic equipment in order to assisting what is happening, in order to assist in identifying the frequencies that are being perpetrated against a target's neurological and biological systems, including looking for RFIDs. He's been on national radio shows. I've heard him on at least 2. He's all over the internet exposing this, and he has his own website. I've listened to many of his interviews, and so you can obviously also go to his website. Now, what he does is he attempts to use this electronic equipment that he has in order to try and discover if a targeted individual is being technologically, neurologically, and biologically manipulated. Okay. Now, and let me interject this as well. The non-consensual human experimentation that is happening to gang stalking victims absolutely and completely can have military attachments to it in reference to who's perpetrating it, whether they're using subcontractors or research groups or universities or not, because at the end of the day, the universities, okay, the research groups, okay, and the subcontractors are all getting paid for by and through grants, and they're just being used as front people, okay, in order to muddy the waters concerning who's actually funding these criminal expeditions. And if you had any idea concerning what I know concerning what these wild maggots are doing, you would literally be and this is no lie, this is no exaggeration, you would literally be in the streets protesting in mass. So stay with me and you will understand as I continue to talk. Now, because this crime is happening to tens of thousands of Americans, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of them are all over the internet begging for help. Okay, you can also go to YouTube and type in Timothy W. bioethics issues. That's one of hundreds of videos of gang stalking victims testifying before the President Obama's Bioethics Commission. Every single one of their torture testimonies was completely ignored, and the Bioethics Commission was eventually sued, okay, with class action lawsuits. Because the individual that ran that was nothing but a propped up puppet. I believe it was from the president of Penn State, and we all know their history. So, my fellow American citizens, pay close attention to my statements. Now, again, like I stated at the beginning of this video, excuse me, I will have to talk fast, okay, so I can incorporate as much information as I can in this video, and plus I need to get going here because I got to eat lunch. So, the reason why I incorporated those two YouTube videos in the title, within the tweet link that is incorporated within the title of this Periscope video, and when you bring up both of those YouTube videos, also know that there are other videos that you will be able to see when you're watching the videos you bring up, which will be the host videos. There's a bunch of videos that are over to your right in a column that are related to the same subject matter and or theme related to what's being exposed, because it's being exposed by thousands of victims all over the internet. This crime has been covered, okay, in reference to some of the technologies, has been covered on national radio shows, even ones I've been on, local news broadcast marginally, and gang stalking has also been covered on the news. Now, the reason why you do not hear about the torture that is connected to this crime is because the media is controlled. And if you don't know that, I strongly suggest you research how our mainstream media is completely controlled. Even Trump is exposing that. I mean, come on. So, one of the reasons why I brought this up is because all gang stalking victims pertaining to the gang stalking victims in America, live in America. And America is a country that is built up of separate states who have joined together as a union. So when you have gang stalking victims who are being subject to the technological aspects of gang stalking crimes, it is obviously deducible, okay, to conclude that each victim is living within a state. There are states that they are living in. And within those states, they are living within communities which are located within cities or towns, that are located within counties, that are located within the states. And even though this is a federally perpetrated crime and a state also perpetrated crime, but also though corporations can be involved in it, pertaining to the perpetration of it, organized crime can, the wealthy, but it doesn't matter who initiates it because it's an organized crime syndicate, meaning that any one of these just 5 mentioned descriptions, no matter who initiates it, all 4 will participate in what is brought about against the gang stalking victim, because gang stalking in reference to the crime itself operates through a template of methods, tactics, protocols, maneuvers in order to achieve their criminal motivations. One target can be picked for 30 different crimes, and one of those crimes can be the human experimentation. Now, so it is a crime that is extremely intrusive, very hard to understand, okay? If you're just hearing a few details about it, that's why you need to research it extensively, okay, and not just for a day. I'm talking about for at least 3 months. Because even when you research it, the perpetrators have intentionally put disinformation online concerning this crime. So you're going to be sifting through a lot of information until you really get into the meat and potatoes. And the best thing that I can do in reference to guiding you to this real information is to tell you to listen to the testimony of the seasoned, educated target individuals. Okay? Absolutely. Any blogs and YouTube videos that come up where you see targeted individuals talking about aspects of what's happening to them, no matter how bizarre it sounds, research what they're stating they're experiencing by the descriptions of what they're stating they're experiencing to Google and cross-reference it to GangStalking. And you will see how these descriptions are being played out against thousands of victims all over the internet who have never talked to each other, have never shared their experience, yet are all stating the crime is being perpetrated against them, almost in the same exact identical way. Now, one of the main reasons why I decided to make this video was because of the simple fact that gang-stalking crimes, operate through the aforementioned descriptions, a template of protocols, methods, tactics, and maneuvers. And one of the main things that they want to be able to do, the main thing they want to do are three things: perpetrate the crime, protect the crime, and achieve the crime. One victim can be picked for 30 crimes: human trafficking, identity theft, falsified imprisonment for the prison industrial complex, because all these privately owned prisons now are receiving federal and state funds per client. The human experimentation can absolutely continue in prison, in group homes, on psychiatric floors, in jails, and so on. So at the end of the day, the whole entire goal of this crime is about money, the protection of the crime, and the continuation of it, and the protection of all individuals that assisted in the perpetration of it and the protection of it. And the police are absolutely directly connected to it, but they can also be victims of it. So listen carefully to my statements. Say if you're in a store, and you see an individual who is seems to be outwardly acting out a little bit verbally, or maybe just an argument that might be taking place between, or even just a conversation that may seem just a teeny bit amplified. Say if you're in a grocery store and you see an individual having a conversation with a store manager or a store employee or the security firm of the plaza itself, or other customers in the store, and everybody's saying, no, it was you that did this, no, it was you that did that, no, what you said wasn't right, it wasn't true, and so, we're wondering why you're making these statements and this and that, and you might think to yourself, by what you're observing and by what you're hearing people say to the target and or about the target, you might think that this victim, this person, is being treated in the right way because of the way they seem to be acting. Just hear me out. Now, my fellow American citizens, why is it that you can go to Google and research grocery stores and gang stalking all over America in every state, including Google that to gang stalking, including by typing in the names of well-known grocery store business chains to gang stalking: Vons, Ralph's, Kroger's, Walmart. Why is it that you can bring up blogs upon blogs upon blogs and even YouTube videos pertaining to these grocery stores to gang stalking in every state? That right there should tell anybody and everybody, including just by typing in grocery stores and gang stalking at Google, and look at how many Google generated responses that come up, and look at what comes up. Right now, so let's say that you got a target of gang stalking who's in a store who knows that they've been subject to multiple different sensitization methods of gang stalking crimes in that store by customers, management, employees, even security of the store plaza. You can Google grocery store managers and gang stalking, grocery store employees and gang stalking, security guards and gang stalking. Now, and people coming in acting as customers and gang stalking in grocery stores. The reason why I'm stating all this to you is because the devil is in the details. When you see what comes up, when you start to see what comes up from each description that you Google, you'll see that I'm telling you the truth, because it's being exposed by tens of thousands of victims all over the internet. This is the main crime that's being exposed online right now. It is the biggest crime being exposed online. You don't know about it because you don't know about gang stalking, so how are you going to bring up a subject matter at Google or YouTube if you don't type in the term that describes the subject matter, gang stalking? That's why you've never heard of it, therefore you don't know what's going on. Absolutely, gang stalking is the name of a crime, just like identity theft, car theft, whatever. So if you're in a store and you see somebody having a conversation, whether it's amplified or animated or not, meaning that whether it's loud or not, And then you start to see this conversation escalate, and you might even see the customer being banned or the police being called. You might think to yourself, well, by the way, because the grocery store managers and the employees, they'll act like this person's complaints are bizarre. Okay, they'll call the person's complaints lies, and they'll act like they don't know what the target's talking about. That's part of the gang stalking, because what they're actually doing to this customer is ganging up on them by propping up and initiating a staged event that causes the customer to make complaints. And the reason why the customer is so aggravated, okay, and maybe even a little bit hyper, okay, is because what they're doing in that grocery store is a trade craft, a skill, okay, a skillfully implemented staged event. But what they got to do, though, for the sake of the store monitors and for the sake of the innocent customers that are in the store that don't know what's going on, okay, they got to try and portray the target as being crazy, unstable, acting disproportionately to anything that they're complaining about, okay, and they will always defend themselves by claiming, we don't know what you're talking about, your behavior, what you're stating sounds peculiar, why would people be doing that to you, and so on and so forth. Because what they're trying to do is save face, okay, to the other customers that are in the store that are not part of this, and to deny it for the sake of the video camera, because they actually don't know how the staged event that they're staging might end up. It can always go sideways on them. So they got to make it appear, for the sake of police documentation, for any eventual possible lawsuits, they got to make it appear that the target is crazy, that they're completely innocent, that they're not aware of any crimes being perpetrated against the customer, the target, okay? And they got to make it appear that they've never been involved in it. And that's how and why sensitization methods are used against the victim, because sensitization methods, the majority of them, are perpetrated against the target and designed to blend in with the everyday environment. That way, the harassment can be perpetrated while it's camouflaged. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so I strongly suggest you research sensitization methods for 30 days in a row, at least 3 hours a day. Non-stop. That means uninterrupted. Because sensitization methods, these wild, demented, criminally insane animals will sensitize a target to 30 different stimuli and constantly repeat them around a target every day along all the target's route. And if the target goes to the grocery store at the last place they go to that day, they know that target's already going to be mentally worn down because of all the harassment that the target has endured along all their routes that they went to on that day. So they know through cataloging the target's routines and habits, they know that the grocery store is 99% of the time the last place the victim goes to at the end of the day. So that's where they like to stage events at. The last place, one of the last places the target goes for the day is where they like to stage the actual physical complaints and accusations. Debate the target to stick up for themselves. Okay, so they can then say that the target's complaints, that the target's response to anything to any accusation is inappropriate, peculiar, possibly the result of an issue, a mental issue. They will do anything and everything. See, because the way the human brain operates is that the human brain has innate defense mechanisms that are literally hardwired into the human brain's physiological system. The actual physical makeup of the brain has innate defense mechanisms, okay? And these innate defense mechanisms are hardwired neurologically in the brain. It's a defense mechanism that instantly, unconsciously, and subconsciously excites itself whenever the brain is perceiving that the personality is being attacked, that the body image is being attacked, and or the physical body is being attacked. These are innate, hardwired, reflexatory, innate defense mechanisms that the brain physiologically and biologically, okay, is responsible for. It is not, most of it is not done consciously. Okay, well, that's why when you go to Google and you type in gang stalking psychological operations, you will clearly be able to see that the majority of gang stalking crimes is based on psychological operations to excite the thinking, to excite the verbal responses, to excite even physical responses, so they can use what your responses against you. Absolutely. And that's why they also cultivate sensitization methods like they do, because they know they're attacking the mind and the body. Because when a victim is constantly under stress, the body is physiologically reacting to it all day long. The harassment that a target endures everywhere they go, every day, sometimes even nonstop, wears the brain's defense mechanisms down. And so they know that they have subjected the target to nonstop harassment all day, and the target is already hyper vigilant because they don't know what to expect every day as a result of this crime. So they know that the target, through running around all day physically, being harassed all day mentally, they believe that at the end of the day, when the target goes to their last stop that they always go to, which is the grocery store, before leaving for the day to go, to be by themselves, they know this is the last place. They know that they've harassed the target mentally all day. They know that they've worn the defense mechanisms down. They know that the target knows that the place they're going to get some food at the grocery store is a place that's already been mentally associated to this crime. So they believe that the target will be more easily provoked to act out, okay, at the last place they go to, whether it be a laundromat, a restaurant, a grocery store, or whatever, okay, or a bus route. Now, the whole goal in gang stalking, in part, in reference to why they want to get the target arrested or banned from a place or ticketed, okay, is achieved by, okay, getting the target to act out, okay. But you got to understand, businesses and public transportation services are a corporation, because everything that services their operations services it through money. How do you think bus drivers are paid? How do you think the administrative staff is paid? Their transit police are paid, all through money. So that business, that is run like a corporation. And at the end of the day, corporations, all they care about, period, including governments and police departments, are money, because money funds their operations. And the same thing goes for the organized crime criminal motivations. They don't care about how this crime affects anybody, including even innocent bystanders, okay? Only thing they care about is perpetrating the crime, protecting the fact that it's happening, okay, and achieving their crimes. All they care about, okay? Absolutely, absolutely. Now, the perpetrators will act like they don't know what the target's talking about concerning them being gang stalked in their establishment, whether it be a library, a university campus, a grocery store, a restaurant, a movie theater. Their bottom line is to follow the protocols of gang stalking by and through provoking the target to act out. That's why they always form the mental associations first to this crime, to this establishment, because they want the target to know factually that they are being gang stalked at this establishment, okay? While they deny all of it, they'll deny they even know what the crime is, and they'll call the target crazy concerning it. And that's why they bait the target to complain about it by and through staging a complaint about the target in the store to excite the target's thinking that, well, you got a lot of nerve stating I'm doing this when I'm not, in reference to the target, while you're involved in the gang stalking of me. And then that's when they'll say, well, we don't know what you're talking about. What's gang stalking? And they'll bait you to talk about it. The reason why they're baiting you to talk about it is because of the fact of the surveillance on their the video cameras in their store ceiling. And so they can say, well, your behavior and what you're stating sounds bizarre. You must have some issues. Everybody's pointing the finger at you, okay? And we don't know what gang stalking is, and we're a place of business. We're not a place where we can have all these types of events transpiring because you think that you're being stalked. Now, what are one of the main intentional, criminal, illegal, false mental diagnoses that target individuals are being intentionally, criminally, falsely diagnosed with? Well, Google false mental diagnoses and gang stalking at Google, and you'll come up with the names. Okay, just trust me. Because if you try to claim that a person is crazy by stating the person is crazy because they think they're being stalked, then they feel that that will justify the type of mental diagnosis they put on them for their to use these false mental diagnoses for the eventual racketeering. Okay? Insurance fraud. Okay? By claiming they need to treat the diagnosis. Do you understand? And this is where the cops and the courts come into play at. And they come into play at the tail end of the staged event as a result of the police being called, including by the perpetrators within the establishment. Vaughn's grocery store. Rouse, La Jolla, California. See, paybacks are a bitch. They're dealing with an extremely experienced, educated, target individual. I know what I'm talking about. And so do tens of thousands of other victims of this crime who are all over the internet exposing the same thing. Absolutely. Who are you going to believe? Would you believe a rapist or the victim? You understand? Now, gang stalking is directly connected to rape as well. So do you honestly think a place like UCSD, SDSU, USD, Ross Grocery Store, Bond's Grocery Store, wants it to be known that they're perpetrating gang stalking when gang stalking is directly connected to human trafficking, rape, gang rape, torture, and everything else? Massive insurance fraud, false imprisonment, and everything. Of course not. So what they'll do is they'll act like we don't know what you're talking about, you're crazy, which is a method of gang stalking, okay, and ban the target from the store. And then the target and or had the target ticketed or arrested, and then the target has to live in the effects and results of these staged events. Staged events in gang stalking are called street daters. Google that term. So now how can the technology assist that is being perpetrated against the gang stalking victim assist them in getting the target to act out within these establishments during a staged event? Well, at any time you can research at Google voice to skull and voice cloning and gang stalking and remote neural monitoring. You can also go to Google and type in forced induced speech and gang stalking and remote neural monitoring. You can also research how remote neural monitoring can stimulate rage, aggression. If it can stimulate rage and aggression and your speech at the same time, okay, well, there's technology all over the internet right now that's being exposed that this concerning some of the technologies these wild animals have that can literally control the hands and arms and legs of a target. As bizarre as that sounds. Now, if you don't believe me concerning that, you can go to YouTube and look at all the YouTube videos that come up as a result of you typing in at YouTube, Timothy W. bioethics issues. You can also go to YouTube and type in Nicholas 1968, that's one word, press the space bar on your keyboard, Nicholas 1968 space remote control. Now, what that is a YouTube channel. Within that YouTube channel is a video that's got remote control in the title of it. Remote control in the title of it are the first two words, okay, of the title. You'll know you're in the right video when you bring the video up in this way, and it shows three men dressed in gold at the very beginning of the video. Within that video, it shows many things, implants, including eye implants, okay, and the fact that technology is already being used where a third person can literally control your hands and your arms. Okay? Except when you watch that video, you're going to be able to see electrodes being placed on specific places on the hands and the arms, which is how they're stimulating these hands and arm movements. Well, in gang stalking victims, these electrodes, which are called stimulated responsive implants, and EMG implants, BCI implants, eye implants, ear implants, the brain-to-computer interface implants, prosthetic implants are all over the internet to be reported by thousands of victims being put in gang stalking victims' biological systems non-consensually. Now, the prosthetic implants and the stimulated responsive implants that are put in targets' arms, hands, legs, okay, throats for force-induced speech, they are put in the body underneath the skin so you can't see it. In the video, you'll see them on the skin. Okay. Now you mix that capability with voice to skull and voice cloning of the target's voice print, and then how voice to skull, voice cloning, and force-induced speech work together to manipulate the target's speech during a staged event. So, my fellow American citizens, if you pay close attention to what I stated in this video, bring it together in your mind. Picture if you watch a YouTube video of two people. You can type in street fights at YouTube, and you'll see two people fighting in many videos. Now, when you look at that, and you'll see that in a lot of these videos, people are talking as they're fighting. They're puffing their chest like gorillas do right before they fight. Okay, they're engaging in verbal dialogue. They're chest puffing. Okay, before, during, or after the fight. Okay. Well, when you see that, know that the speech they're speaking is speech they're speaking as a result of the thought processes pertaining to what led up to the event and the event itself. In gang stalking, what they'll do is intentionally form negative mental associations to a place, the persons within the place, to prior harassment. Then on a day when they want to stage an event, they'll accuse the target of doing something. And then they can easily project through voice-to-skull and voice cloning, okay, a statement in the target's audio cortex using the target's own voice print about how they can respond to this. And the target will say something, and then what they'll do is then feed on that and try and amplify it to draw the target into an altercation. Okay, so they can, and the target can still be continually neurologically manipulated and physiologically manipulated as this event is unfolding to get the target to act out verbally, to get them to act out physically, to get them to not cooperate with police or anybody else. You understand? It's all staged and synchronized. Now, I want you to think about what I'm stating to you. Everything that I stated in this video is the truth. It's exposed by thousands of victims all over the internet. Lawsuits have been filed, including class action lawsuits. Okay? It's been exposed on national radio shows. It's been exposed on national TV shows, like the Jesse Ventura Brain Invader show as well. Okay? So, and marginally on news broadcast as well. So think about this. If grocery stores are involved in gang stalking, if libraries are involved in gang stalking, if coffee shops are involved in gang stalking, and gang stalking perpetrators use these technologies in order to achieve, results from a staged event, then they obviously have to know what the motive of the event is, right? The motive of the event is the result of the event, and the only way to bring about a result is to engineer the result. Everybody plays their role, including the physical people and the covert perpetrating of this remote technology. I strongly suggest you research what I've stated. This isn't the best video I've ever made, but understand, if you take the time to research every statement I've made in this video, research what comes up, cross-reference the material to the other things that come up from that research per description. Bring it together and you will see truth. I made this video to expose the truth. Vaughn's grocery store, Ross grocery store in La Jolla, California is directly connected to gang stalking. They'll lie about every single bit of it. The cops will collude with them privately. Okay, so when they play their role during a staged event, whether they petition the target in a county mental health, a psychiatric floor, including me, because they do this to every gang stalking victim. Absolutely. They play a role in the event after they're called. They know the event is coming about because they're part of it. They'll deny every bit of it, call the target crazy concerning it, which is a method of gang stalking. So let's see if any of that at any time happens to me inside or outside of any business, especially grocery stores, coffee shops, and libraries, bus stops, and bus routes, and at wooded areas. My name is Leslie Williams. I made this video to expose the truth, and I guarantee it, if you research what I've stated, you will see truth. Thank you for listening, everybody. Have a great day.